For thousands of years, the galaxy moved on without Earth. Alien empires rose and fell. New species were discovered. Great wars were fought. Trade routes were built across the stars. But Earth was silent. Long ago, humans were everywhere. Their ships were fast, their minds were sharp. They had no claws, no fangs, no wings, but they changed everything. When they came into the stars, they did not conquer. They outthought humans, helped end wars. They stopped a plague that was spreading across 3 systems. They solved problems no one else could understand. But then, one day, they disappeared. No warnings, no last messages. One by one, their ships vanished. Their colonies turned dark. Their homeworld Earth went silent. The last known message from humans was just one word: goodbye. Over time, the other species began to forget them. New generations thought the stories were myths. Humans, just legends. The Galactic Council removed Earth from all maps. Children laughed when someone mentioned the name, but one alien did not laugh. His name was Kellen, a young historian from the peaceful world of Siren. He studied old signals, old maps, old myths. While others chased new planets, Kellen searched for lost ones. And one day, he found something, a signal. Weak, faint, but real. Hidden under layers of cosmic noise, there was a sound repeating every 37 seconds. It was ancient, but familiar. Kellen matched the pattern to an old Earth transmission, a human encryption, one that hadn't been used in 4,000 years. He ran to his superiors. Earth is sending a signal, he said, but they only laughed. You found an echo, nothing more. Kellen didn't stop. He used all his credits. To rent a long-range sensor drone, he aimed it toward the signal. What he saw made him stop breathing. A ship. It wasn't moving fast. It wasn't broadcasting, but it was there, just beyond the edge of known space. No registration, no transponder, no lights. Its shape was smooth, black, and silent. Too sharp to be natural. Too cold to be anything but human-made. The drone sent back a burst of data. Kellen zoomed in. The hull had a marking old Earth text, worn by time but still readable. Sol, Sentinel. He searched every archive he could find. That name, that ship, had been listed lost nearly 4,000 years ago. Kellen sent the data to the council again. This time, they didn't laugh. They ordered him to delete everything. If this is true, they said, do not wake what should remain asleep. But Kellen already had. Others were picking up the signal now. Smugglers, miners, explorers. And then, something strange happened. The ship moved. Only a few degrees, but it moved. Not drifting, not floating, turning. Toward the core worlds. Across the galaxy, sensors began picking up the same signal Kellen first heard only now. It was louder, clearer, stronger. It wasn't just a signal anymore. It was a message. One word. Returning. Panic spread in quiet voices. Humans are back. Is this real? What do they want after 4,000 years? The council tried to calm the systems. It is a trick, a ghost, nothing more. But no one believed them. A merchant ship vanished near the same region. Then a pirate fleet stopped responding. No wreckage, no distress signals, only silence. The same silence humans left behind. The fear returned. Some whispered, maybe they never left. Maybe they were watching us all along. Kellen stared at the final image from his drone before it too stopped sending data. A single light appeared on the ship's surface, and a voice, old, deep, and calm, spoke one sentence, in perfect standard Galactic. We see what you have become. The galaxy no longer laughed at Earth's name. Now they waited, and feared. Asterisk, the signal was no longer a whisper. Now it echoed across trade routes, deep space listening posts, and border patrols. The same sound kept returning. A low hum followed, by a pulse steady, deliberate. It repeated every 37 seconds. At first, only a few ships noticed, but by the third day, even civilian scanners could hear it, and the message was growing. Kellen sat alone in the observatory dome above Sir Capital. The stars stretched endlessly beyond the glass. His hands trembled as he replayed the last signal from his drone before it had gone silent. Returning, he had been laughed at, then warned, then ignored. But now, people were contacting him, secretly. Pilots, traders, even a few military officers. They had all picked up something, and wanted answers. No one wanted to say it out loud, but the thought was there. He must. One ship had seen the shadow of something massive drifting near the Oryx cloud. Another described strange energy readings near the dead zone of Zorith Prime. And one message, a private, shaky transmission from a courier pilot, said this. There was a ship, blacker than space. No noise, just there. And then my engines stopped. All of them. No warning. Then they started again. Like nothing happened. But I was moved. I don't know how. I was closer to the trade ring by 500 light seconds. It shouldn't be possible. Rumors spread like wildfire. And then the voice returned. Clearer. More words. We were silent by choice. But we never stopped watching. Now the fear was growing, not because humans were hostile, but because they hadn't even said what they wanted. No demands. No claims. Just presence. Quiet, calm, watching. Ships that approached too close to the signal disappeared. Not destroyed, not damaged. Just gone. One moment on scanners, next moment nothing, not even debris. That silence was louder than any threat. A few curious species began calling the signal the Eye, as if humanity had become something more than flesh, something vast. On the central world of Tavara, the council held a private meeting. 11 species represented, each powerful in their own space. None could agree what to do. "They are testing us," said the Thrix ambassador, his skin glowing with tension. "They are ghosts," said the Delorn delegate. "Old systems making noise." "No," whispered the oldest member, an ancient creature who had once served beside human officers during the age of collaboration. "They are back, and they are measuring how far we've fallen." The council decided to send a small scout group, 5 ships, unmanned, fast, and shielded. Their goal: follow the signal's path, find the source, record everything. The mission launched under full silence. 12 hours later, all 5 ships disappeared. No crash, no explosion, just vanished. And then a new message appeared, this time broadcast directly into the council's private line. "We asked for peace. We gave time. 4,000 years. Was it not enough?" The council was shaken, but not all agreed on the danger. Some believed it was a bluff, an old system reawakening, or worse, some species pretending to be human. But others began to remember the old stories, tales told in hushed voices, of a time when humans stopped wars, not with force, but with knowledge. When one human doctor saved a sun from going supernova. When one diplomat ended a centuries-long blood feud with only 3 sentences. And then, they walked away, as if they knew the galaxy wasn't ready. Now, perhaps they had returned to see if anything had changed. Kellen sat alone, staring at an old map. He traced his fingers across the stars. His research had uncovered one more piece of legend, half lost, found in a forgotten station near the ruins of a human outpost. The message was hidden inside a poem. "When stars grow blind and silence grows loud, we return not as kings, but as mirrors. You will see not us, but yourselves." Kellen didn't understand it fully, not yet, but as the signal pulsed again, as more systems fell into unexplained silence, one thing became clear. This wasn't a warning, it was a test, and humanity was watching. It started with silence. Now, it was memory. Not long ago, the name human was only a whisper in old archive stories buried in the dust of forgotten wars. But now, across the stars, those memories were rising again. Quietly, slowly, like a storm on the edge of the sky, the signal had not stopped. It was changing, not just a pulse anymore, but a pattern, waves within waves. And those who studied it closely began to hear things hidden inside. Faint voices, fragments of ancient languages, and echoes of music long thought lost. Scholars who once called humanity a myth now sat in silence, listening to the sounds with wide eyes. Something inside those layers felt familiar, like a language the soul could understand. Then came the first face. It appeared without warning on 1,000 screens. Across ships, stations, and research labs. A human face.com, ageless, it spoke. Just one sentence in the old Earth tongue: "You forgot us. But we remember you." The council tried to block the message, tried to call it a trick, a manipulation, but it was too late. Curiosity had already taken hold. Across the galaxy, people were now asking, who were the humans? Really? Why did they vanish? And why have they come back now? In a quiet corner of the archives, Kellen uncovered an old file, locked with a forgotten code. When he opened it, he found a transmission dated over 4,000 years ago. It was one of the last known logs from a human vessel, the Stellar Echo. The voice on the recording was calm, almost sad. "We're stepping away, not because we fear you, but because we fear what we might become. If we stay, we will sleep. And if the galaxy ever learns balance, perhaps then we'll return." Kellen leaned back, heart pounding. It wasn't just disappearance, it was a choice. Humanity didn't run. They waited, watched, prepared, and now they were back. Meanwhile, strange things began happening. Technologies that were once stable began to fail, only briefly, then perfectly resumed. Entire data networks reset themselves, as if being examined. Spaceports found power systems altered, improved, not broken, but quietly upgraded, and no one claimed responsibility. One mining colony discovered a sealed vault deep below their moon. It wasn't there before. Inside was a sphere, metallic, smooth, humming softly. Scientists studied it, but found no way to open it. Yet when a child from the colony touched it, the sphere glowed. It spoke. "Do not fear. You are not being punished. You are being observed." The child asked, "By who?" "By the ones you forgot." More and more began to believe. Humanity had never left completely. Their machines, their creations, even fragments of their minds, had remained behind, quiet, hidden, waiting for the right moment to awaken. And now, across the stars, that awakening had begun. But not everyone welcomed it. In secret chambers, powerful leaders held quiet meetings. "They've come to take control." One said they want revenge. Another whispered, "They want order," said a third, "and we've only given them chaos." The council was divided. Some wanted to contact Earth directly if it still existed. Others feared what they might find, so they looked for answers elsewhere. They searched the memories of elder species, those who had once walked beside humans. One such species, the Na'in, still carried their stories through song. An old night singer, blind and near the end of her life, sang a tale once known as the farewell of light. They came like light, not to burn, but to guide. Then they left. Because the stars had grown too dark, they said, "We will return when the sky learns to listen." Now they return not to lead, but to remind. Kellen listened to the song, his thoughts spinning. These weren't just legends anymore. Humanity had returned not to rule, but to reveal. Reveal what? Then he saw it in a recovered image from the drifting ship called Soul Sentinel, the same one Kellen first tracked. Its outer HULL had changed. Now, glowing across the side, were 3 simple words. We are. Mirror. Not a threat, not a promise. A message. Humanity had come back not as conquerors, but as reflection. The galaxy now had to ask itself, what would it see? In that mirror, the calm before the storm had never felt so heavy. The galaxy's great fleets and proud stations were silent, but not in peace. It was the silence of waiting in, uneasy pause that filled every corner with tension. No one could explain why systems began to fail all at once. Navigation grids flickered, communication lines dropped, and energy shields and remote outposts faded unexpectedly. No attack was detected, no weapons fired. It was as if the very fabric of the galaxy was being watched and gently tested. On Sarin, Kellen stared at the data streaming from the edge of known space. The human ship, Soul Sentinel, had been drifting quietly, yet its presence was felt everywhere. Sensors picked up a strange field surrounding it, a faint shimmer that interfered with technology but did no harm. Across trade hubs and colonies, whispers turned into worry. Ships that once relied on trusted systems found their instruments failing, only to reboot stronger and clearer moments later. Cargo ships reported routes changed without their input. Pilots felt as though they were being guided, but by what or who, they did not know. Then, the message came. Not through radio or hologram, not through official channels. It arrived as a broadcast on every screen simultaneously, no matter the frequency, no matter the language. The image was simple, a human face, serene and confident, framed by ancient symbols glowing softly behind. The voice spoke calm, clear, and unwavering. We have watched in silence for 4,000 years. We saw your rise and your fall. You traded peace for power, hope for fear. We waited for you to learn. The broadcast lasted only 30 seconds before fading into static, but its effect was immediate. Systems surrendered, not to force, but to awe. Planets once proud of their independence began opening trade and dialogue with unknown sources. Fleets lowered shields voluntarily. Even those who opposed the Council's warnings began to wonder if resistance was possible. The galaxy was waking up to a truth it had long forgotten. Humanity was no longer the young explorers who vanished. In mystery, they were something else. On Tavara, the Council convened again, this time under urgent watch. Their attempts to scramble the broadcast had failed. Public fear and hope surged together in chaotic waves. The Council was powerless to stop the tide. Among the Council members, the ancient Rian elders spoke with quiet wisdom. They do not come to conquer, they come to remind, to heal, to restore balance lost. But not everyone shared this hope. The Thrix ambassador, known for his sharp mind and colder heart, warned, we must be cautious. They could dismantle everything we built, our alliances, our power, our very way of life. At the same moment, a fleet in the Outer Rim reported, an unexplainable event. An entire armada lost control not to weapons, but to an unseen influence. Ships powered down their weapons and stood still, their crews unable to explain why. Back on Sarin, Kellen received a mysterious package. Inside was a small device, humming softly, a human relic. Attached was a note in perfect Earth script. The cure is in balance. Join us, or be forgotten. Kellen held the device close, feeling its warmth. The message was clear. Humanity was ready to act. But act how? Then, from the depths of the signal, a new voice emerged. Not a human voice, but a human creation, an ancient AI designed to preserve knowledge and guide the lost. It spoke across the stars. We are the echoes of Earth, the memory of what once was and what may be again. We are the guardians of balance. The galaxy's wounds run deep. Healing begins now. The AI's presence changed everything. Power grids stabilized. Communication flowed freely. Where chaos had taken root, order began to bloom. The galaxy was no longer afraid of the silence. It was listening and waiting. The human return was no longer a question of if, but how. The new era was about to begin. The galaxy held its breath. No one knew exactly when the Soul Sentinel would finally reveal itself. For months, its presence was a shadow on the edge of space, sometimes visible, sometimes hidden behind cosmic dust and energy storms. But now, it was clear, it was moving. Slowly, deliberately, toward the heart of the galactic network. Every system it passed changed. Not violently, but gently. Communications were enhanced, power flowed smoother. Old conflicts paused as if by unspoken command. Reports came from distant colonies, strange feelings of calm, of hope. The restless found peace, the fearful found courage. It was as if the ship was not just moving through space, but through the hearts and minds of every living being. In the council's chambers, tension mixed with awe. Many feared what this arrival meant. Would the humans demand control? Would old alliances collapse? But Kellen, and a growing number of scholars, believed otherwise. This isn't conquest, he said. It's an invitation. Then the first ambassador from Earth appeared, not in a ship, but in a message. A human voice, warm and steady, spoke directly to the galaxy. We left because you were not ready. We stayed silent to watch and learn. Now, we return not to conquer, but to share. The future is not ours alone. It belongs to all who choose balance, peace, and growth. The message was met with silence, then cautious applause. But not everyone accepted it. Several powerful factions rejected the human offer outright, fearing loss of influence and change they could not control. Tensions rose again. Then came the test. A distant star system sent a distress call. A natural disaster was unfolding, threatening millions of lives. It was beyond any one species' ability to fix quickly. Human ships arrived within hours. Not soldiers, but engineers, scientists, and healers. Their technology worked silently, repairing, stabilizing, restoring. When they left, the system thrived, again more vibrant than before. The galaxy watched. Some began to believe. On Siren, Kellen's research uncovered an ancient human record hidden deep in the data. It told the story of the Great Pause, a deliberate choice by humans to step away and let others grow. But it also spoke of the promise, a vow that when the galaxy was ready, humanity would return to guide, not govern. The present moment was that promise. However, not all was calm beneath the surface. A faction known as the Shadow Coalition moved in secret, spreading fear and doubt. They broadcast lies that humans sought to control minds and take freedoms. Their influence grew quietly, sowing distrust. Kellen, now part of a small alliance of truth seekers, worked to uncover their schemes and reveal the real human intentions. The galaxy stood at a crossroads. Would it embrace the chance for healing and unity, or fall into old patterns of fear and division? The human return was no longer just a mystery, it was a choice the galaxy had to make, and time was running out. The moment had arrived. After centuries of silence, the galaxy stood united yet uncertain. The human ship Soul Sentinel was no longer a ghost on the edges of space. It had crossed into the central star systems, visible to all who watched the skies. Its smooth hull reflected the light of 1,000 stars, and a gentle glow pulsed from its core, a heartbeat that seemed to echo across the void. Kellen stood on the observation deck of the Council's flagship, his eyes fixed on the ship that carried the hopes, fears, and futures of countless worlds. Around him, diplomats and leaders whispered nervously. The ancient alliances trembled with anticipation. Then, a message streamed across every screen, every device, every speaker in the galaxy. A human voice, calm and clear, spoke. We come not to command, but to join. Not to rule, but to learn. Not to divide, but to unite. The words washed over the galaxy like a wave of warmth. In that moment, the long years of waiting, watching, and wondering came to a head. Humans appeared not as conquerors, but as partners. They brought knowledge beyond imagination, cures for diseases, energy sources that sang with the power of stars, and technologies that healed worlds scarred by time and conflict. But more than that, they brought a message of balance. The humans revealed a vast network of ancient AI keepers of history, guardians of peace designed to help the galaxy grow beyond its old fears. These machines could repair damaged ecosystems, bridge languages, and connect minds without loss or misunderstanding. The galaxy's greatest scientists and leaders worked side by side with the humans, unlocking secrets buried for millennia. Yet, old fears did not vanish overnight. Benny wondered if this gift came with strings, if the humans' return was truly an act of goodwill or something else entirely. In the midst of this, Kellen uncovered a hidden message within the AI network, a poem left by humanity's ancestors. When the stars forget to shine, we will return, to light the way, not with fire, but with reflection, to guide the lost back home. The poem echoed a deeper truth. Humanity's return was a mirror, reflecting the galaxy's own potential. Slowly, the galaxy began to change. Borders softened, old rivalries gave way to cooperation. Shared goals emerged from the shadows of suspicion, but it was not without challenge. The Shadow Coalition, still clinging to fear, launched one last effort to divide and conquer. Their lies, once whispered, now shouted through the dark corners of space. But the humans and their allies were ready. Using the ancient AI, they exposed the truth, showing the Coalition's plans to the galaxy. Their influence crumbled like dust. Peace was fragile, but it held. In the years that followed, the galaxy grew stronger, wiser, and more united than ever before. Humanity's silence had ended. Their return was not the end, but the beginning. A new chapter, written together by countless voices, and as Kellen looked to the stars, he knew this time, humanity would not leave. They had come home.